Hi guys, I'm Patty Elhoff, the author of Upcycle with Decoupage. And today I'm going to show you how you can take your kitchen cutting board. I'm going to tell you a couple of different steps to complete this. So here's what we'll need for this project. There's normally little nubs back here. You can see that space. You can either take those off or you can cut slits in the paper and work around it. What I would do is decoupage over them, and while the paper's wet, cut that out. These fell off such a long time ago that I just never put them back on, and I'm going to show you how we can make our own personalized cutting board. We're going to need a shallow dish of water. This had some type of meat in it at some point, and I just bleached it and washed it several times. It's a perfect shallow dish for decoupaging. Hard brayer, you don't want the soft sponge one. This is perfect for what we're doing today because we're working on a flat surface. If you don't have one of these, you can use a credit card. Just make sure when you run it along the paper that you don't get too heavy-handed because that will tear. Decoupage glue, varnish, sponge brushes, obviously our cutting board. You want to make sure you're using a cutting board and not just a piece of glass. An image, and this is some art paper. You can cut out your image. I could have gone all around this and cut out the image and put it on here, but for today I like the whole picture so much that I'm just going to put the whole picture down permanently, and I will tell you how we're going to get started on our project. It's a pretty easy one today too. So first, because you want your image to show through the opposite side, you're going to make sure that this gritty, grainy side is face down. And the image will go face down on the back of it. But what you also want to do is, I always suggest doing a dry run before you do any of your decoupage work. And here's how we will do this. Glass goes face down. The first thing you want to do is cover the whole back of the glass with decoupage glue. I'm sorry, I probably should have told you this. You should have some craft paper around here, or at least wax paper, or have a damp cloth ready because this will spill out all over the sides. And I'll fast forward this. I'm going to dip my image in water. Just let it drip a little bit. And I'm going to place it on my cutting board where I want it. You see it's a little crooked. Now the paper helps, the water helps the paper lie down really flat, which is what you want when you're doing decoupage. Believe it or not, there will still be tiny air bubbles in there. Now you'll want to take them a little off center here. You will want to take your brayer, and I find it's best to go from the center out. But another good habit is to look at this in very bright light, because then you'll see if there are any air bubbles or anything in there. Just wipe down some of this excess right here. Okay. So for now, let's just let this dry. I'd give it about 10 or 15 minutes. I have gotten into the habit with everything I decoupage, of putting it in the oven, the cold oven, setting the oven to 150 or 175, and I just leave this in there. When the oven dings to let me know it's reached 150 or 175, I turn it off, and that is the driest environment. It doesn't harm the decoupage, it just dries everything that much quicker, and that's what I'm going to do right now. I will be right back. Okay, this is dry. By the way, my oven would not set to 150 degrees. It would, at the least, it would only set to 175. That's just a little damp spot, but it's okay. We're going to put the back piece on here. So again, we're going to flip this over so the gritty side is down. And we're going to take the art paper. You can see there's two sides to this. And again, we're going to flip it over. And first I'm going to dip this in some water also. While I'm doing that, I'm going to add some more decoupage glue over the back here. Well, the art paper is a little runny. It's not a problem. I just hope it is not permanent dye that I'm dripping on the countertop, although I do have a little bleach spray handy for problems like this that come up. So you place the handmade paper. Now this is going to be a little more delicate, so the good thing though is that it's also a little bit heavier and it tends to sink right in without water anyway, but I do feel a couple of air bubbles. See this green coming off on the counter. Wipe that right up, and it does look like it's staining a little bit. Not a problem. Here's where you will want to take the brayer, and again, even with the brayer, you've got to be careful. Make sure your brayer doesn't have any schmutz or anything on there. I could see a couple of air bubbles. So I go from the center out. You always want to make sure you get those edges down. I'm done with this, and again, you can let this air dry or you can put it in the oven. Want to make sure those edges stay down. Everything is about the edges with decoupage. You don't want any air or moisture getting under those edges. I am going around these edges with my fingers, and I am not gluing the paper on this edge as much as folding it over. The idea is the glue here along the edge has to dry. And I'm sure I forgot this because I do this a lot. I forgot to tell you that a really strong grit nail file, you can get them at any drugstore, is perfect when this is dry. Then this is dry now. Take a nail file and go over the back edge. Only file in one direction. And this nail file is a little bit on the older side. I need some new ones, but it pulls the paper right away. It's a very clean line. And just for the sake of brevity, I am going to add the top coat to this now. You can put one or two more coats of decoupage glue on it, but add your top coat, the varnish. I would add about 2 or 3 coats of that. Here's another idea. If you want to make it a little bit more on the kitchen-y side, I cut out this rooster. That was also from a calendar. Photocopied it at the copy center, Staples, and decoupaged it, then put the background paper on. So that's just a different idea. I happen to like this one a little bit more, I guess because it is kitcheny, a little bit more on the kitcheny side, to me anyway. So good luck. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks a lot for subscribing and posting some comments. Bye.